He looks like he's just like, eating popcorn and watching.
Why was there a little pizzazz there?
Or razzle dazzle. I need to put it back down.
Hello everyone, welcome to our Epping Forest Youth Council debate. This is on the cost of living crisis today. I hope you had a chance to have your photos taken with our chairman. It is now time to debate. My name is Sydney Smith. I will be your chairman for the youth debate. Youth councillors, please ask your schools, that's already been done. To my right is Oscar Prosser, my vice chair, and to my left is Erica Skingsley, our dedicated timekeeper for the debate. And is over there. Oscar and Ailil will be overseeing the audience to ensure that everyone will have an opportunity to participate. Nick Robinson will conclude the debate so you can make your own decision to either support or oppose the motion. Okay. Every debate has a chairman or speaker of the House. My role as chairman is to keep order. I will only interrupt if points of information are too long, an irrelevant point is made, or the noise is too loud. I will also announce the results at the end of the debate. Oscar Ruthen, on my right, will be proposing the motion. There he is. And William Ayrton, on my left, will be opposing the motion. And there he is. Those on Oscar's side shall be arguing for the motion, that you should support the statement. Those on Will's side will be arguing against the motion, that you do not support the statement. The honourable members in the centre of the horseshoe, please choose which side you wish to sit on. So there's a person right in front of me who, sorry to pick you out, which side would you like to sit on? So I can, that side, cool. To start off the debate, the proposer and the opposer will make their opening speeches. The debate will then be open to the rest of the House. If you would like to be heard, please raise your unique number card and my Vice Chair, Oscar, and Ailil will note down the numbers so I can call upon you later to speak. Teachers, if you could hand out your number cards to your students. Great. You don't have a number card. What? Youth councillors won't have a number card.
Well, you can't
They'll put their hand up. I'll write their names down.
What?
If youth councillors, no, if there's no one speaking, youth councillors can put their hand up to speak, and I'll write their name down on this little piece of paper here.
You sure you don't want them to give them each a number on the piece of paper?
No, it's alright. It'll take too long.
They will be ignored.
No, just put Will.
Yeah, I'll write down their name.
Alright, because I can't put names in.
Yeah, I know, that's right. Have we all got our numbers? Thank you. Members are required to speak for up to 1 minute and no longer, as you will be stopped. Erica, our timekeeper, will keep us to time, and this will ensure that everyone has a chance to speak. You will only speak once, unless there is time at the end where you will be able to speak again. At 11:40, the timekeeper will give the floor a 10-minute warning. At 11:50, I will ask for their closing statements from both the proposer and the opposer. I will bang the gavel 3 times once the debate has finished. I will then hand the floor to Nick Robinson for his supporting information. This will help you decide on whether you wish to vote for or against the motion. When all opinions have been heard, you will then vote using SurveyMonkey. Some tips for a good debate are: arguments should be short, snappy, and to the point. You should aim for around 15 seconds. Respect fellow members of the House by listening to their arguments. If respect is not given and the House becomes too noisy, I will stop the debate to resume order. Confidence is a useful tool in a debate. It ensures that the opposition knows you are prepared with your facts. Use statistics. This strengthens your argument and can help persuade the opposition. Remember, you work as a team. Ensure your arguments are consistent and complementary. I would also ask that you use the term honourable member when addressing other people, and keep in mind that this is being webcasted and will be available on the Youth Councillor's YouTube page. This is your time to talk. It is your time to stand up for what you believe and to put your point across. It is also an opportunity to make a meaningful change to your fellow members' opinions. It is time to debate. The motion for the debate is: this House believes the government should provide free public transport for all young people from the age of 16 up to the age of 25 in full-time education or on a low income. Oscar, please make your opening speech for the motion.
Thank you, Sydney. Good morning and welcome, honourable members. This House believes public transport should be free for all young people up to 25 years of age. The Epping Forest district sits at the crossroads between Essex and London, and subsequently has many transport links. Epping serves as a commuter town for London, and last year the Underground station had an annual usage of 3.02 million passengers, according to a source on Wikipedia. However, the vast majority of these passengers are working commuters from the surrounding area. TfL makes over £5 billion from passenger fares every year, but most of this comes from commuters. Young people are less likely to travel into London every day, and under 18s already get 50% off. Less than a third of TfL users are under 25. So when you do the maths, little over £500 million comes from under 25s. Furthermore, when you factor in other revenue streams, TfL's total annual revenue comes to £10 billion. So TfL will still generate an annual output of over £9.5 billion, and TfL's income is still expected to rise following COVID. TfL's expenditure is around £8 billion annually, so they would still profit nearly £2 billion a year. Under 25s may not be able to afford the cost to travel, especially now in the midst of recession, which is why free public transport is a liberty TfL can afford and one that would benefit young people. To famously quote Mr. McCorber from Dickens' David Copperfield, annual income £20, annual expenditure 19, result happiness, proving as long as TfL profits, they will be secure.
Thank you, Oscar. Will, please make your opening speech against the motion.
Thank you very much, Chair, and I'm sure that everyone on this side of the House completely agrees. In principle, free public transport is a great idea. I note that the honourable member said that TfL would profit nearly £2 billion a year, even with free public transport for under 25s. However, he neglects to mention that free public transport, according to the Institute for Economic Affairs, would cost this country nearly £1.4 billion a year in taxpayer revenue. So perhaps private companies do very well out of this, like TfL, like companies around the rest of the country. But us as taxpayers, in years to come, will not. And I'm sure many of you are thinking now, but I don't pay tax. I don't need to worry. But in the next 15, 20 years, when we attempt to make money, when we attempt to make a living for ourselves, we will be paying off the debt that this country grows because of our free public transport. We will be paying off, for the rest of our lives, public transport for the generations to come. Not only will we be paying this off, but people won't be using it. I'm sure Oscar mentioned there that people here in Epping Forest use public transport. But around the rest of the country, people don't. Last year, 52% of people did not use a bus once. 45% of people did not use a train once. Now, they would not be affected by free public transport. People don't use it in this country. So what is being proposed today would cost us, for the rest of our lives, out of our pocket. I heard a fact today that we pay nearly £1 million on average over the course of our lifetime in tax, and a percentage of £1.4 billion a year for the rest of our lives. And we pay it to private companies that then have secured income for a service that nobody's going to be using. Ultimately, this is a wonderful idea, and it really is. It's about helping young people. But it's an idea that's flawed. It helps private companies that make profit out of our tax revenue instead of helping the people that genuinely need the help that they can get. £1.4 billion could pay for 70,000 hours of therapy for people with mental health issues. But instead, we spend it on public transport.
You've got 5 seconds
that will
left.
not be used. So I hope that you will join me in opposing the motion proposed today.
Thank you, Will. I will now open up the floor to you all for the debate. Please be respectful towards your fellow members. Remember, if you are speaking, turn on your microphone before speaking and switch off when you finish. as only one person can speak at a time. Please raise your numbers to speak. 39. Number 39.
I disagree with this motion. I disagree with Will. I believe children from a difficult background will be able to get to school with free public transport. If students are from a difficult or a poor background, this already will mean less access to money, which means they will not be able to fully benefit from education. However, they will still be able to easily get in and out of school, which will definitely help. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 62.
I believe that we should allow the free transport because education is a massive part of a child's life, and to set their future, because their education is going to set them for the rest of their life. And if we allow this free transport, it can set up a new future, because these children who are needing this free transport are going to need this for the future for their schools. And basically, a lot of people can't get transport to schools as maybe they can't afford it, or it's like an inconvenience for them.
Number 13. Number 30.
Um, 8.3 billion people take public transport every year. 3 million people take public transport every day. 32% of these people are 25 and under. If you want maths, that is 960,000 young people a day. Student travel is 25% off. So if we can save so much money, why can't we save more? For young people that have low-paying jobs, why can't we save more money for them? Thank you.
Number 8.
In order to sustain public transport for the 17% of people that are living under poverty, other ways, rather than private companies, other ways than using private companies to support the money loss, which other ways of allowing the costs to rise over the profits, which other ways could you suggest, other than using private companies to eliminate the costs lost, then using public sectors, which ways, sorry about this, inflation, the rate is over half the designated required percentage. I've never used the bus this year. Other people I know have never used the bus this year. Which ways could you eliminate the money lost using other ways, rather than private
You've
companies?
got 5 seconds.
Otherwise, without using inflation, rising taxes. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other people that want to speak? Great. 37. 70.
I believe that overcrowding would be a large issue if this were to go through, because I myself take the bus to school every day, and I believe that allowing more people to take free public transport would increase overcrowding, and that would be a large health and safety issue.
Thank you. 63. Number 63.
I think I agree with what 37 said. I think it will become a burden on the government to maintain the quality and to sustain the public transportation system. I think many people will not use the public transport as it will be too crowded. I think this idea will be abused by the public.
Thank you. Number 17.
70.
70, sorry.
Allocating funds for free public transport under 25 might divert resources from essential services, potentially affecting areas such as healthcare or infrastructure.
19. Number 19.
I do think that we should be paying for the driving people to places, but I also think it shouldn't be too expensive. I think yes, we should pay for transport, but not make it, and don't make it too expensive.
Number 29.
While the Honourable Member said in his opening speech about how so much money is allocated and how we might pay it off in our later lives as when we start paying tax, it's as if you are saying that it's not a resourceful way to allocate government tax revenue, but the tax revenue is for our social benefit, and as young people we will benefit from free transport. So if that's the cost that we need to, that's what tax is for, to help us in whatever way. And for people 16 to 25, transport takes a lot of your income, a lot. As you continue to go past the half rate when you're 18, it takes a lot of your income. So to have that cut from the government, it is a useful way to use tax being paid.
Number 25.
I think that allowing public transport to be free under the age of 25 could be dangerous, because the majority of people carrying dangerous weapons such as knives are quite young. So if they go onto public transport, it could be a danger to other people.
Number 1.
As the mental well-being representative of my school, I believe that as the mental well-being problems are growing quite rapidly, shouldn't this money be spent on helping children with their mental well-being?
Number 20.
I believe if the public transport was free, the drivers wouldn't make enough money to pay their rent and their taxes and stuff like that.
76.
Thank you, Chair. It's me, I stole someone's number. I'd like to refer to what a couple of honourable members have said. An honourable member said earlier that there was a 25% increase in public transport, which I know that sounds very good, but that simply means that £1.4 billion figure is going to continue increasing. The other honourable member said that that would help us. This £1.4 billion is not going to waste. Yes, we can keep repaying it because it's a good thing. However, I'd like the honourable member to know, and indeed the rest of the House to know, that only 16% of journeys to school are on the bus. The average journey to school in this country is 3.4 miles. Only 7% of those are on the bus. The fact is that this is a wonderful amount of money that would be spent on not many people using it. The members say that this would help us in our lives, it would be a good use of money, but it wouldn't. People don't use it. People don't use the system that's already there, and the evidence is they wouldn't use it after being given it for free either.
You've got 5 seconds.
35. Number 35.
You have no choice if you go to school, and if the bus is the only way to get to school and you can't afford it, then it should be free so people can get to school.
33. Number 33.
I believe that free transport for under 25s will promote education access. Free transport reduces the financial barriers for young people to access education. This then encourages higher school enrolment and attendance rates.
27. Number 27.
As the Honourable Member of Council said at the start of the meeting, over 52% of people don't use buses and 45% people don't use trains. But I believe, wouldn't that just make the appeal of public transport better in the economy? And it might bring more money in for the country.
61. Number 61.
I think that you shouldn't have free transport because why should other people pay for transport for you?
36. Number 36. No? Okay. Yeah?
Oh, sorry.
I think people should have free transport
for people that do take the buses every day and they are relying on the buses to take them to and from school, it would be a good thing for them to have it, and for families that can't afford for them to drive due to having to pay for petrol as the prices of petrol are going up in money. Free transport would be good for children and less worrying about how much money they are spending and how much stress it's causing on them, which is starting mental health as well as on their parents.
Number 53.
I think free transport would increase young people's well-being, since then at home their parents or them wouldn't be stressed about the cost of having to go to school or work.
Number 23.
I believe that freeing up public transport would be a devastating blow to the livelihoods of many taxi and Uber drivers, and considering the current cost of living crisis, this would be a very, very hard blow to a lot of people's livelihoods and quality of life.
Number 32.
As the other side has rightly said, the effects on tax in the future will increase, obviously, due to free transport. But I think much more significantly, at the moment, tax on personal vehicles like ULEZ and congestion charge, as obviously using personal vehicles is having a great impact on the environment. And by taking public transport together, there'll be a lot of carbon emissions. Free transport's a great incentive with ULEZ and congestion charge. It's extremely expensive to travel into London, and for many opportunities in life, work experience, all sorts, it's really important that everybody can be able to get to London, which is a really important place in terms of where we live. And money shouldn't be an object here.
Number 78.
We're in the middle of a cost of living crisis, and people are struggling. So paying more tax would add to that struggle for many people.
Number 10.
I believe that transport should be free because people need to spend their money on necessities like food to feed their children. For example, many children go to school hungry and do not get 3 meals a day, even though their parents are trying their hardest. They're like putting all their money into giving their children the life they need, but they can't because of how much they're spending on other things like transport.
Number 13.
Just as number 38, 10 has said, it's by making transport free, it takes away lots of the weight from cost of living, as, like we've heard before, most people have to choose between heating and food. With getting free transport, it means that more people, they'll have more money to pay for heating, as they're spending less on their children's transport towards school and going out in general.
Number 14.
I think that there shouldn't be free public transport because instating this rule would create more crowded trains and buses as more and more people begin to take advantage of this rule. The more crowded the transport becomes, the more slow and unreliable the transport develops. This creates issues for regular public transport users and ultimately decreases the quality of the service. This could also lead to making the public transport more unsafe for the younger community.
Number 24.
I believe the government shouldn't provide free public transport because it would cause an increase in wait times and overcrowding spaces, which would cause delays to people's journeys. And I think that people from the age 25 and before should gain their own responsibilities by paying bus fares.
Number 5.
As a person who takes the bus every single day, my bus ticket is £2.50. Having free bus trips will help many people immensely, as I've seen many people on the bus get kicked off for not having enough money. It's not their fault that they can't afford it. And public transport is meant to be the cheaper alternative for people in poverty lines who cannot afford a car. How can it be £2.50 and be the alternative for not having a car?
Number 77.
If children are free, will TfL be able to get the money to maintain, repair and pay back their £12 billion debt? Will that mean adults have to pay more? And TfL has already offered free and discounted travel for those who are unemployed, apprenticed or need help in these difficult times.
Number 74.
The honourable member did mention about how TfL might lose money, but I believe that using free public transport for under 25s, they could actually gain more money, as it will increase in young people, passengers for TfL. And when they get to 25, they can't stop using TfL because they've relied on it every day for years for free. So they're going to have to start paying, meaning that TfL should eventually get more money. Also, several honourable members have mentioned overcrowding on trains and buses. TfL are working on getting a new tube train for London, which should be rolled out on the Piccadilly line and then the Bakerloo line in the next 2 years.
Number 18. 80, sorry.
I believe that making public transport free, it will be very beneficial to us all, because right now the majority of transport is still like petrol and diesel, and having public transport to be free, it would encourage like students under 25 to take it, and it would also reduce our carbon footprint. Thanks.
15.
Due to this, people will making public transport free. It will cause a major unbalance with jobs and things, because people who work in car industries will lose their job as everyone will be using the tubes.
Number 22.
I think that it is not a good idea because the TfL income would be lower, meaning they won't be able to give the amount of tax they used to give, causing others to pay more tax and higher bills and energy prices.
16.
I think by adding this, it wouldn't be very beneficial because it would be teaching younger people that they can just do it and not pay, when other older people pay for transport every single day to get to jobs and stuff, and it wouldn't be fair for one person to be paying much more than the other.
Number 12.
I think affordable transportation ensures that young people from diverse economic backgrounds can participate in various social, cultural, and educational activities. This promotes a sense of community and inclusivity, further contributing to poverty alleviation. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a quick reminder before I continue. This side, you are proposing the statement, and this side, you are opposing the statement. Some of you have gotten a bit confused. Number 11. 11?
Thank you. I'd just like to point out that there seems to be some conflicting views, both in that you suggest that there'll be overcrowding because of this, yet other people suggest that because people don't use the transport, there won't be any changes at all. So since there can't really be both in this scenario, since transport already had to deal with overcrowding, they have measurements put in place, so I assume they can sort that out if there is more overcrowding from this, and also perhaps the reason people aren't using it so much because they simply don't have the money available to be using it. So perhaps if they were given the opportunity, they could actually find use in it. Thank you.
68.
I wanted to say that we were talking about whether or not it would work, and I wanted to point to how in Scotland, the Scottish Green Party ensured that all people under 21 would have access to free transport, and it's been working really well and benefiting a lot of people in that age category. So I just thought that we could look to other governments who had done the same thing in how we would implement that.
Thank you. 49.
I would like to say that I agree with number 24 about if we use public transport, then it will be more of a waiting time. And, for example,
if you do want to go to school with public transport, then you're going to have to wait because a lot of people will want to use this public transport to get to school and stuff, and it will take more waiting time for other people who still have to go to school.
Number 28.
If pensioners can get free transport, then why can't young people? Pensioners are vulnerable and they do need some support, but so do young people, as they need to build themselves a future so they can do well in life.
54.
If there was free public transport, it will boost 64% of children's mental well-being, as they won't have to worry about their parents paying a huge fee for them to get the essential education they deserve. It will bring more appeal to public transport for those who don't often use it. It will have a better impact on the environment because kids will not have to ask their parents or carers to take them somewhere. Parents won't have to worry about dropping their child to school or picking them up, as they can get a bus or train home, therefore increasing the amount of work, and if they're on wage per hour, increasing their income.
39.
39.
Just to add on, making public transport free would mean people would be more likely to use it, therefore people would use their cars less, resulting in saving oil.
13. 30, sorry.
A common problem at the moment is climate change. So if more people use one vehicle, that will reduce the amount of fumes or gases in the air. So if public transport is free, that will encourage people to use a bus or a train. So that will take less fuel and it will put less gases in the air than a bunch of cars on the road. Thank you.
35. No? No? Okay. 29.
The honourable member said that people don't use transport. If I could just have a raise of hands, this week alone, put your hand up if you've used a bus or train. Thank you.
76.
If I could start by addressing what just happened there, perhaps, yes, there is a lot of transport use in Epping Forest where we've got wonderful transport links, but the rest of the country, which this would still be paying for, doesn't use public transport. We're incredibly lucky because we're just outside London here. I'd also like to address there's sort of this theme going around that if we make public transport free, suddenly everyone will start to use it. The most obvious group at the moment that gets free public transport is pensioners. In fact, not to drop Di in it, but Di's very happy at the moment because she's got a new bus pass. She keeps on telling us repeatedly. Now, the fact is that people with this free transport don't use it. Again, 54% of people with a free bus pass don't use the bus. Free public transport does not encourage people to use it. So it wouldn't reduce climate emissions, because there wouldn't be more people using it. It wouldn't reduce fees because people don't use it.
Just to let you know, we've got 10 minutes left of this half of the debate.
Number 62.
Despite having an argument for, there can be many cons to having free transport. The major problem with free public transport is that it creates the perception of a no-cost service, just as car drivers commonly assume that there is no cost involved in driving their car somewhere. The catch of the car-based system is that the car trip is not in fact free. One should at least include gas, parking space, insurance and depreciation costs, even if environmental costs could also be part of the equation. Thank you.
Number 20.
I believe if we made bus transport free to younger people, the big companies would getting less money, what would mean they would pay the bus drivers less money. And with that, the bus drivers would not be able to pay their taxes and would go into poverty.
19.
If we don't pay for public transport, that means government won't have a lot of money. But I know just public transport won't give a lot of money to the government, but every little helps. Imagine what life would be like without any police officers or firefighters.
10.
In this cost of living crisis, inflation has risen by 11.5% and salary rise is at 8.5%. These are not in proportion to each other. There's a 3% gap there. Where would people find the money to pay for transport?
9. 14.
I think that if the government allowed free public transport, it will lead to public to do forgery and reduce their age so that they could get free public transport.
61.
When a young person is in an education, it is hard enough as it is to juggle finance. Free transport will rely burden off us, which the high cost of long and public transport being so expensive.
49. No? Number 49? No? 25?
I think that this would help with road safety because if it's free for people the age of 25, then it will encourage more people to use public transport, so there'll be less cars on the road. And if you think that it won't encourage them because a lot of elderly, you have free public transport, well, it's because elderly don't necessarily have to be somewhere every day. Younger people with education need to be at school basically every day of the week other than Saturdays and Sundays. And Saturdays and Sundays, they might have a job if they're over the age of 16.
15.
If it does become free, then that would mean that we would need more buses, trains and public transport. And talking about the climate, the manufacturing of public transport is very energy intensive and it draws coal and fossil fuels as its energy, and this releases a significant amount of carbon emissions into the atmosphere, and it's very bad for the environment.
Number 74.
Earlier, the honourable member said about wait times. I would argue that having not to pay for transport is worth waking up 5 minutes earlier so you can go to school. Also, I would disagree with the statement that most people around the country do not use public transport. It's only because we're near London. I would argue that I think the stat is over 80% of people now live in cities or near a city. So in cities, I mean, you've got Merseyrail for Liverpool, you've got transit systems in Newcastle, Glasgow, you've got trams in Manchester and Birmingham. I would argue that all of those public transport people use daily.
13.
Agreeing with what this member just said, over 2 in 5 16 to 25-year-olds use buses every single week. How can you say that young people don't use transport when they do? We use it for each thing we do, as most of us cannot afford to drive a car or not of driving age, so we have to use public transport.
Number 24.
Over TfL makes 9.1 billion annually a year, and they would lose a lot. But if you think about it, they would have to pay for more buses, and car companies would be losing out on a lot of money because people can start driving from the age of 16 or over that, and car companies would be losing a lot of money. Pensioners would lose their title to get free public transport.
29. Number 29.
So 16 to 25, as one member said, she pays £2.50 for one bus journey. For, say, that was just once, 5 times a week, that is £50 a month. Who has £50 in their pocket as a young person, 16, if you're not working, because full-time education, not everyone has the time to work, who has that money on them? Because I know not a lot of people do. And I feel like it is a useful allocation of resources. The government it's our social benefit. The social benefit in this case is higher than the social cost. A lot of young people use transport, especially when you're on the train, you look around. Normally when I'm on the train, when I'm on the bus is full. It's not empty. People use it and people need it. And if it wasn't to be free anymore, if it wasn't free as it is,
You've
if
got
it
5
was free,
seconds.
everyone will benefit so much more.
25.
Using public transport, they're going to have a hard time getting used to paying again once they reach the age of 25.
Number 2.
As someone who lives near my school, people who live in Epping Forest or a walkable distance from their school should try to walk instead of taking public transport. And there is also a health benefit of walking. This would save the NHS and local services in wellbeing and health services in the long run.
Number 62.
Saying that the buses are overcrowded and a lot of people use them to get to school, it wouldn't help making it free, because then more people would just abuse it and use it more. So the buses would become even more packed and it would just be even more busy. So it'd be harder as a normal person trying to get somewhere to travel when it's free.
Okay, I just want to make a quick announcement. Has anybody left a brown holdall downstairs? Oh, Leighton, thank you. Back to the debate. Thank you, Chair.
63.
The one significant problem with making public transport free of charge is financial. Councils and local governments need sufficient revenue, not only to pay bus drivers and other staff, but also to maintain the transport infrastructure. There's a real danger that allowing people to travel for free would deprive transport authorities of much needed funds and lead to a lower standard of service.
Natalie, would you like to speak?
The same amount of overcrowding will occur even with the new trains, because more people would take public transport. So if there's new trains, there'll still be overcrowding, if not more. And wouldn't overcrowding make people not want to use public transport?
76. Oh, it's fine.
Building on to the educational point of it, several unis across the United Kingdom utilise their own transportation system and own their own transportation system within their cities, for instance, the University of Southampton, which means that they essentially get a larger amount of funding without having to rely as much on uni tuition. This means they need to take in less foreign students. So they essentially teach more people within the UK, thus meaning more people in that area in the UK are going into the workplace with better skills. Surely, making this free and thus cutting down their revenue and revenue of other universities across the UK means they're going to have to over-rely on foreign students, resulting in a lower amount of UK students going into the workplace with the skills and qualifications they require.
Number 58, would you like to end the debate?
Why don't we just turn it into a pass that people can apply for? People, if your reason is considered valid enough, they'll give it to you, personalised. You'll have to renew it annually for £25 until you're 25, thus saving the problem of not making money. The personalisation stops people from taking advantage of it, and you'll still get free public transport.
Thank you. The debate has now ended. I'm very sorry if you didn't get to speak. Maybe it's something that you could put to your debate groups at your own school. I will now ask Oscar, the proposer, to give a 1-minute summary for the motion.
Thank you, Chair. In conclusion, free public transport for under 25s is a necessity for those paying student loan or rent for university or college, and it wouldn't cause TfL any significant damage. They would still turn a profit of nearly £2 billion annually, and free transport for under 25s may lead to an increase in passenger numbers, as more young people would travel on the tube. This could mean that when the young people turn 25, they'd be in a better financial position, so that extra people using TfL would continue to use the tube, and TfL would turn an even larger profit. Also, TfL's new trains would have fully walk-through carriages, and they'd be air-cooled, so there is much more space for people, and yeah, it'll be nicer conditions. And finally, this means having free public transport for under 25s would benefit young people and TfL.
Thank you. I will now ask William, the opposer, to give a 1-minute summary against the motion.
Thank you, Chair. And as far as I can see it, this idea of free public transport simply creates a couple of feedback loops. We increase the amount of use in public transport, which means the trains get overcrowded, which means we need to pay more, which means we're going to have to pay more in future. By increasing the amount that we use it now, we pay more in future because trains become overcrowded. There's also a secondary feedback loop, which the Honourable Member has sort of inadvertently referred to there. He says that TfL are going to improve their carriages, which he's saying they're going to manage to do while also losing £1 billion a year, as he said earlier, worth of revenue. He's going to cut back on the amount of money TfL have and then ask them to pay more to improve the service, which to me just seems like polar opposite ideas. We're going to cut back for people in the future while we're going to gain ourselves now and find ourselves in a much, much worse position when we're older and we are in more financial trouble, very possibly with the state of the economy as it is now. So I hope that you see that
You've
it
got
makes
5
no
seconds.
sense to support the motion and you oppose it as myself and the team do here.
Thank you. I would now like to invite Nick Robinson to give his summary for both the for and against motions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My impartial short summary of the debate is as follows. Proposing the motion that this House believes the government should provide free public transport for all young people from the age of 16 up to the age of 25 in full-time education or on low income. Youth Councillor Oscar Ruffin highlighted the unique geographical position of Epping Forest as a commuter belt and the fact that public transport generates an awful lot of revenue, particularly in commuter districts, and that money should be reinvested back into communities. He also pointed out that nationally there are examples elsewhere of very successful transit systems which work well and have high usage in other countries, in other sub-towns and parts of the country. A few highlighted comments from the floor. Right Honourable Member from Epping St John's highlighted how important and essential public transport is, particularly to people on low income and from rural communities as well. The Right Honourable Member from Davenant reinforced the point that we pay our taxes to expect a level of public transport infrastructure and service within our communities. The Right Honourable Member for Coopersale pointed out that investing in public transport would provide jobs and security to bus drivers and other people within those associated industries. We had a comment from the Right Honourable Member from Chigwell who pointed to the precedent that in Scotland free public transport is available up to the age of 21. And the Right Honourable Member from Davenant highlighted the equivalence with pensioners as a different demographic group with needs who, of course, do receive free public transport. The Right Honourable Member from Roding Valley made the point that providing young people with public transport will make life easier and put less stress on parents or carers. An intervention from the Right Honourable Member from Basildon pointed out that public transport should be more affordable as an alternative to having a car. And the Right Honourable Member for Roding Valley pointed out the benefits of reducing carbon footprint through public transport. Opposing the motion, Youth Councillor William Ayrton highlighted the national debt that young people will inherit and the impact that that will have on the taxpayer. He pointed out that paying for subsidised public transport will add to that debt of future generation. He also pointed out that public transport is not widely used across all areas and parts of the country, and that indeed money from public revenues and the Treasury could perhaps be, in his view, better spent elsewhere, for example, in mental health services. The Right Honourable Member from Davenant pointed out that there is already a lot of overcrowding existing on public transport and buses, a risk to health and safety if people were more financially subsidised and incentivised to use public transport. The Right Honourable Member from St John's pointed out that people need to take personal responsibility for their own finances and not rely on handouts, and that free public transport would set that precedent. The Right Honourable Member from Davenant also pointed out that there would be an impact on the Uber and taxi industry from the provision of free public transport. And the Right Honourable Member from Davenant pointed out that reducing revenues that come from the sale of public transport tickets would have an impact on other public services. Madam Chairman, I hope this summary will help members of the House to develop an informed opinion when they vote on the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Members, we have now reached the end of the debate. We have heard reasons varying from the high cost to the taxpayer to young people needing to get to school. And now, on to the vote. If you could go to SurveyMonkey on your phones and put in the code on the screens. Sorry, Slido. My script is a bit out of date, I apologise. Right, good start. So Jamie's not here, right? It's Holly here. It's Holly here. Holly's not here. No, she's here. Is she not here? Right, so my script is very out of date.
Is he next to the name? And then so is he then able then to sit then Jamie's then you sleep for about 20 minutes.
Right, so there's no Holly. Great.
Do you want some more laptop? Let's see up to date one.
It's fine. If I can use this one, sorry. Because it wouldn't let me log into my email this morning, so I had to use my. No, it's okay. So I had to use my school email because that's what she sent. That's what she sent the other one to. That was about last week. Has everyone voted? No? Is there still people that haven't voted? Yes. Oh no, it's not even going to be like a big reveal. They can see the
people down there are pretty nice.
It's quite even. It is quite even. 40-60. It's pretty good. Where's that come from? Just now. On what?
Huh?
Should I bang my gavels? This is a Right, is that everyone? Has everyone voted? No. Can you put your hand up if you haven't voted? There's one person. 2, 3. Okay, we'll wait a couple more minutes.
It's really close. They tell them to be quiet.
Yeah.
You tell them to be quiet. It's really loud.
Okay.
Oh, come on.
No. Oh, right. Is there someone that hasn't voted? One person. Right, two people. Right. This is it's going to be a close call.
No.
Oh. Can more people vote, please?
No.
I don't think it's ever been this close.
You really need to emphasise who has not voted.
You voted, right. Who has not voted? Can you please put your hand up if you haven't voted? One person. Two people. Vice Chair. I'm very sorry, Vice Chair.
It could be 50-50.
Oscar, do not vote.
It wasn't of you. You weren't even in it.
I said do not vote.
I already voted.
Oh my.
I voted.
I've not voted.
You haven't voted?
I can't vote, I'm the chair.
All I did was type in numbers into a terminal. Oh my god, it's evening out again. This is crazy.
If this ends on 50-50, what do I do?
Oh, it looks like it's going to be again. Oh my god, it's back.
Right, have you voted? You voted, right.
Are you kidding?
Can I ask some youth councillors to vote, please? If youth councillors haven't already voted, can I ask them to vote? Right, has everyone voted? Is there anyone, if you haven't voted, can you please put your hand up? Have you voted? You have voted, right. You're shaking your head at me.
Oh, it's done it again.
Chair has the casting vote.
What's wrong? I'm so sorry.
Turn it off.
Right, I'm gonna have to close the vote now, so it doesn't. No. Okay, right.
Get it off.
Against one. I'm gonna sum it up. So, this House believes that the government should not provide free public transport for all young people from the age of 16 up to the age of 25 in full education or on low income. That was a very tricky debate. Right. Well done, everyone, for taking part in this year's youth debate. Give yourself a round of applause. Please welcome youth councillors.